My wife Karen Ann. Just a little background on Victorian Station first. The building here was built in 1896 by students at what was then the Hampton Normal School, Architecture and Mechanics A&M. This was the School of Architecture. It was one of the project buildings that they built. The listening room itself here, so where you go through there is the old original building, and we bought it from the Starcher family 20 years ago, and they had added this addition to it. So this is actually from 1991, the listening room. Karen Ann, I had met Karen Ann when I had come back to Hampton Roads from a military career and then retired up in Northern Virginia, came back. And then she told me she was in the communications industry. She was a producer director at Cox, and she loved hospitality. That's what she told me.
Be careful what you ask.
So I was looking for some property, sold some property up north, wanted to move it down here, and I stepped in here, and it reminded me from growing up in an old, similar kind of home, growing up in South Carolina, and so I came home and I said, "Hey, I bought the property for you." So bought it that day. As soon as I walked in here, I knew. I said, "This is it." So that's a little bit of the history of the place. We'll mention my great-grandma, whose painting is on the wall and on the sign. So that's from the original sign that we put up here, I think, in 2006. So we commissioned it. But Karen Ann's father was a staff artist at the Smithsonian and also at the Capitol in Michigan. He did all the governor artwork and everything. And he did the artwork of my dad's grandma. From Newfoundland, Canada, is where she was from. And it's an original painting on both sides by him of that piece of art up there. And then we just retained that sign out front through the years. My sister is here, Kathy, who also very much appreciates that we're retaining our great-grandmama on the sign. So now to the music. All right, and the first folks on here go way back to the origins, the history of big band music. In the waning days of 2010, December I think it was, I asked Vaughn if he could come over. At the time, this was a tea room. We said, "Can we have some croissants, chicken salad croissants and tea and talk?" Vaughn was someone I looked up to from, I went to Bethel High School here in Hampton, and he was a graduate a couple years ahead of me. But even then, he carried this mystique. I mean, he was larger than life even then. And so when we were thinking about changes to music kind of venue, we called on, and that's when we met Sue Ann. So we had a nice lunch, and we brought Vaughn and Sue Ann down here, and said, "What do you think about an open mic?" And looked out to what was a gift room down here, and he said, "Man, this would be great." He said, "Hey, who's going to do it?" I said, "How about you?" So that's how that all began. And I guess my question to you, Sue Ann, Ray, is what was your impressions of that day? I mean, what did you walk away from on that day? And how did Ray get pulled in all of this?
Well, Vaughn asked me to come with him for lunch with you guys. So I said, "Sure, free food."
No such thing as a free lunch.
So, and he asked me when he found out why the lunch was happening. He asked me if I wanted to do it with him, and I said absolutely. So I think I had a little bit going and starting this thing, and I'm glad I did, and I'm so glad that it's still up and running, bigger and better than ever. And thank you all for being here.
Ray, how did you get into this?
Oh boy, my phone's a little loud. Okay. I don't know. I knew Vaughn, and yeah, and the way it went. My impression when it first started and everything, what struck me about it was the unique combination of professionalism and humor, and just the human aspect of it. A lot of times, when you put something together in the performance industry, and you dot all your I's and you cross your T's, and everything's got to be right, you lose the humanity of it. You lose the relaxed you know, that relaxed, it's okay if you make a mistake kind of feel, you know. And Vaughn somehow pulled that off. It was professional, you know. He did everything right, and as far as I can remember, and there was humor, you know. I got a couple of stories, but I'm not going to bore you with them. You know? Some of you've already heard these. So.
Well, we're so appreciative you've been here from the very beginning. You all would open it up, and you would be the stage crew up front as he handled the dials out back, and you did that from the very beginning.
I was technically the stage manager.
Yep.
I guess that's the term for it.
The other person I do want to mention is not a musician, but he's standing right back there as he was from the very first day, Mitch Kirshner, with his camera. A special shout out to you, Mitch, for all that you've done over the years. So,
Are we getting ready for
how
song?
about a song?
Okay.
How about a song?
We're dedicating this song to the house.